بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله، صلى الله عليك يا حبيب الله. السلام عليك سيدي ومولاي يا أبا القاسم يا رسول الله. السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين يا علي بن أبي طالب. السلام عليك سيدتي ومولاتي يا زهراء يا زهراء يا أم الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة. السلام عليك سيدي إمامي أيها الحسن المجتبى. السلام عليك سيدي ومولاي يا أبا عبد الله الحسين. السلام عليك سيدي. السلام على ابن خاتم الأنبياء. السلام على ابن سيد الأوصياء. السلام على ابن فاطمة الزهراء. السلام على ابن خديجة الكبرى. السلام على ابن سدرة المنتهى. السلام على ابن جنة المأوى. السلام على ابن زمزم والصفا. السلام على المرمل بالدماء. السلام على المهتوك الخباء. السلام على خامس أصحاب الكساء. السلام على غريب الغرباء. السلام على شهيد الشهداء. السلام على قتيل الأدعياء. السلام على ساكن كربلاء. السلام على الحسين. السلام على الحسين. السلام على الحسين. السلام عليك مولاي ورحمة الله وبركاته. يا ليتنا كنا معكم فنفوز فوزا عظيما. صلوات. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والحمد لله رب العالمين، حمدا نحمده ونستغفره ونستهديه، ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهدي الله فلا مضل له، ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. والصلاة والسلام على النبي الهاشمي المدني الأبطحي التهامي السيد البهي السراج المضيء الكوكب الدري صاحب الوقار والسكينة المدفون بالمدينة العبد المؤيد الرسول المسدد المصطفى الأمجد المحمود الأحمد حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين صاحب العصر والزمان إمامنا المهدي المنتظر عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف وسهل مخرجه وجعلنا من أتباعه وأعوانه والمستشهدين بين يديه. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The Almighty Allah says in the Holy Quran in Surah Al-Saf, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يريدون ليطفئوا نور الله بأفواههم والله متم نوره والله متم نوره ولو كره الكافرون هو الذي أرسل رسوله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات. Dear respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I thank you again for making it out tonight to benefit from the words of Allah Azza wa Jal. These words, if we reflect on them, if we study them, if we ponder on them, we will benefit tremendously and it will help us improve ourselves and who we are. Yesterday I posed a question. I asked, what is it that we take with us? The night before I asked the same question, and we are trying to enhance the understanding of what is it really that we take with us. What is it you take with you when you transition away from this life? Tell me, give me an idea. What is that I taking with it? What is that? Our deeds. Very excellent answer if we know what it really meant. What does it mean? What does it mean that we take our deeds with us? Where is my deed right now? Look at me. I prayed. Do you see the deed of the prayer? How do I take that deed called my prayer with me? Where is it right now in me, with me? How does it translate in my life? Most of us are not realizing the meaning of taking the deeds. Allah in the Holy Quran says, "Man jaa bil hasana," meaning whoever comes with the good deed, which means you ought to take care of that good deed, maintain it and carry it with you until you meet Allah Azza wa Jal. You don't only do it and it's done. No, you need to carry it with you. What does that mean? What does that mean that I carry the good deed and I keep the good deed? Where is it? Can someone tell me where is the good deed? Come on, no one knows? Mm-hmm. Who said something here? It's on our right shoulder. Anyone sees them here? The angel writes of the good deed, but where is the good deed? The angels are keeping record of my good deeds, but where are they? Where's that? It's in the book of deeds. Where is the deed? What's that? Reflected in your actions. Okay. Listen to me please attentively. This is important. We wake up in the morning, we do all the deeds all day, and we don't know where the deeds are. That's a problem. I am the deed. You are the deed. I become the deed itself. If it's good, the I becomes the goodness. If it's bad, the I becomes what? The evil. I am the manifestation, the container, and the being of the deed itself. When I pray, what did I do in my prayers? I performed actions. I performed qiyam, recitation of Quran, ruku', sujood, tashahhud, taslim. Where is my work? That is an act that I performed. The act that I performed of prayer can take me up to the seventh heaven or lower all the way down to where the shaitan is. Why? The act is an act. An arrogant, show-off person can do the same act, and a humble, religious, pious person can do the same exact act. What raises the act up to the heavens and what takes it down all the way to the hell? It's the intent that I carry. There is a circular motion here. I carry this act called the deed. I carry it on with my body. The container is my body. The self, the I, is the true carrier, the doer, the motivator, the one that creates the will. That's why a dead body is a body with no life in it. Is a body with no will in it. Why? Because the self is not in it. When you look at a dead body, is it alive or is it dead? What do you think? The dead body, is it alive or is it dead? What is that? Alive? How? The body itself. The body itself, in reality, every part and piece of the body has a living form in it. But as a totality, the body itself, we say it's a dead body. Why do we say it's a dead body? See, scientists they want to deny the existence of the soul, right? Some of them say the spirit does not exist. You ask them, then why do you call the body a dead body? If the body keeps on decaying, it has a form of life in it. Even when it decays, it has a form of life. Then why do you say it is not alive? Because you just admitted that there is something that exited the body that used to give it life, called the soul and spirit. Having said, this body is a container for what? For that self. The soul itself, the I, which is contained within the body, interacts with everything outside in this domain, the world of matter, through the body itself. So the self, the I, and nafs, is the doer, is the one that moves everything. Some people ask, how could the Imam alayhi salam do so many things at one time? The Imam of the time, we know that he sees and knows what we all do, right or wrong. Some have a problem with it. They say, how could the Imam be aware of everything that is happening with all of us? Very simple. The Imam has an image of us. We have an image of the Imam in us. How is that? Yourself. Look at me. As I'm talking right now, how many things are moving? Both my hands, my legs, my eyes, I'm talking, I'm thinking. How many? So many functions at the same time. Am I having a problem being aware of what I'm doing at this moment? Do I have a problem with that? And it's not rocket science. It's not like I'm doing something so amazing. And this is the self, I. I'm able to control so many things at the same time. I'm not doing one thing at the same time. I'm doing many different things. Right or wrong? The Imam Salamullahi Ta'ala alayh, the same way my soul has authority over the body, he has authority over the souls. Simple. And we'll explain this a little bit further, inshallah. But I, as a self, at the end of my lifetime in this domain called earth, I transition and I carry with me something specific. You called it the deeds. But what are these deeds? When I carry and do an action, when I do something, a worship for example, or any action, that action, dear brothers and sisters, has an effect on the self, on the soul itself. If it's something, regardless, anything you do in this universe while you are in this world has an effect on that self of yours. Even when you breathe. But look at the difference. The laws of physics explain the process. The laws of biology explain the processes. The laws of chemistry explain the processes of this world from the perspective of matter. How and what happens. But there is a higher authoritative law that acts on each and every one of us in regards to the self. فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَهُ وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَهُ. An atom worth of good you'll see, an atom worth of evil you'll see. So anything and everything you do has an effect. Now, we notice the Prophet ﷺ says that on the time of the month of Shahr Ramadan, the fact that you're fasting even when you are asleep, the act of sleeping becomes what? Worship. Why? Because even sleeping with the right intent becomes worship. It means what? With the right intent, every act of your daily life, every instant, builds up the I in yourself. Builds its closeness to Allah Azza wa Jal. No matter what you do, in every breath that you take, you're either elevating or what? Moving downward. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Wal 'asr innal insana lafi khusr. Illa alladhina amanu wa 'amilus salihat wa tawasaw bil haqq wa tawasaw bis sabr. Verily man is at loss, going downhill, except الذين عملوا what? صالحات. الذين آمنوا وعملوا. Al-Iman, the conviction of in the heart. Now where is the heart? Let me ask you, where is your heart? Is the verse pertaining to the heart, the physical heart in your body? No. It is the heart, the center of awareness. And that exists where? In the self. The soul itself is one. When I look at this book, the Quran, there is a cover, right? You can see the cover. And it's made out of what? Papers. Many papers. I say, this is the Quran. The Quran is a composition of many different parts. comes together to say, this is the Quran. When I say the room is made out of pillars, walls, ceiling, I say though, this is the room. But when I say the soul, as the nafs, this soul and spirit is not a composite. It's not many pieces put together. The self is one. The spirit is one. But we sometimes call it al-aql, the intellect. We sometimes call it al-qalb, the heart. We sometimes call it the hawa, the desire. We have different names. Why? Depending on the function it is carrying at the moment. The self in its entirety could be in a state of awareness at all time, and it is looking at everything it does to accomplish justice in everything that it does. The self at that moment, we call it, it's a just and fair self. This self, dear brothers and sisters, anything, its attachment to its body is important so it can act on everything in this universe around it. Any interaction in any way, shape or form shapes and molds that self, either uphill or downhill. So even when I look, when I listen, when I hear, when I breathe, when I sit, when I stand, when I do anything, the self is progressively moving and evolving. As long as time is passing, this self is in a state of change, either evolves upwards or goes downhill. That is why it becomes essential and important that the self is put in an environment that would help its progress and advancement. Even when you think it's doing nothing. Because in reality, the self is always receiving. It never ever stops from receiving. Even when you transition from this world to the hereafter, the self is still receiving. The self is receiving its existence continuously from Allah Azza wa Jal. Having said that, dear brothers and sisters, it is important to regard everything the self is doing, the environment that you put yourself in, and the awareness of that environment that you have to it. Let us recite the salawat by standing up, moving forward, so make room for people in the behind. After salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. ونفس وما سواها فألهمها فجورها وتقواها. This self, dear brothers and sisters, that's why our Immaculates alayhim salam emphasize and stress on some points. They say the eyes, just through the look and the sight, can commit adultery. The eye, you just look at someone, with that look you can commit adultery. Why? Because the eyes are only the gateway of yourself to the outside world and the outside world to yourself. It depends how that self of yours, what is it thinking? What state of mind is it at when it sees what it sees? When you think, when you listen, some people say, what would little music would help, would hurt? It will soothe me. It will help me. Yes, it might help a little bit, but would harm a lot. These rhythms and everything in this universe is put and created so we can utilize it appropriately for the growth of the self. And look at what we do with it. Allah Azza wa Jal created this universe for our own growth. What do? Let me ask you, how many hours does an average worker work every single day? How much? How many hours? 8 hours, right? And then, let's say he makes $30 an hour. Let's make it 40 so we can get a good even number. 40 times 8 is how much? It's how much? 320. Okay, that was not a good number here. Let's say $50 an hour. 50 times 80, it's times 8 is how much? 400. Wonderful. You work 8 hours. You're committed to your work. What is the value of that work? $400. How fast can you spend $400? Pretty fast, ladies, right? One trip to the shopping mall and they're done. $400 is what your 8 hours worth. You respect and you work hard to fulfill those 8 hours, right or wrong? Right or wrong? $50 an hour is not a bad rate, right? Really, come on. The guy's like skeptical. No, I don't think so. It's not bad. Why? You wake up and you make sure every day you're on time at 8 a.m. till 4 p.m. Why? Because you want to make sure that value of $50 is given and you receive it. You're working for it. But subhanallah, when it comes to Allah, He gives us our 24 hours. He gives us the blessings. He gives us everything that we have. And He asks us not for 8 hours. For a morning prayer that takes 2-3 minutes. A Dhuhr prayer that takes 4-5 minutes. Asr prayer that takes 2-4 minutes. Maghrib prayer and Isha prayer. Does it take so long? How do we value the amount of time we give back to Allah? Why did He put these stations throughout the day? You know why? So the self is re-centered again and is balanced again with everything that it has around it. So we can balance that self of ours and engage correctly within this universe. We look at everything we do and we balance it with what Allah Azza wa Jal gave us. But do we appreciate this? وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا. If you were to calculate and account for the blessings of Allah, you cannot account for it. You can never say how many things. Musa alayhi salam wanted to thank Allah Azza wa Jal. He said, Allah, how can I thank you? And even when I recognize I want to thank you, I should be thanking you for thanking you. Because the thank itself came from you. Allah says, now that you know it, you have thanked me. This awareness of ours, it's a state of mind the soul has to capture and understand. It takes a lot of work. It takes serious work. But in order for us to achieve that kind of work, dear brothers and sisters, we need to put time into this. How many of us actually put the time to understand this value? You know, you go through your life oblivious of this fact, completely blind of these facts. What wakes you up? Death itself. Imagine this moment. Imagine this moment. By the way, we will all face this moment, this instant of our extreme highest level of awareness of reality, of our lives, when we see the angel of death coming to take away our souls. Have you thought of this instant? all the things you're fighting for, all the things you're crying for, all the things you're trying so hard, you're disobeying Allah day in, day out, every minute you're completely standing before Allah as if you're doing Him a favor. You remember how small you are and insignificant, and you realize that you do not have control over anything. You cannot even push away the angel of death as he comes close to you. And you don't know when. But see that state of mind you're in? I want you to think of it right now. The angel of death can come any second. When he comes your way, can you push him back? Can you say, I'm sorry, not time for me? Can you change any of it? Can you? Can you? Do you believe that you can? Do you truly believe that you cannot push him away? And do you believe that he can come at any second? He could come right now. I could be speaking and he shows up, Assalamu alaikum, I'm gone. I'm done. Are you ready for it? I want to ask you, let me ask the ladies first. Are you ready for it? Are you? You are ready for the angel of death? MashaAllah. Give me some more water. I need a lot of water tonight. Women are even ready for the angel of death. Oh man. What's that? صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yeah, we're ready for it. Let's not fool ourselves. We're not ready for anything. It's good that sisters that said we're ready for it, inshallah they have that faith that we can learn from. But in reality, we are in so much need of that awareness to become ready for Him. We laugh and we joke, but when He comes, and it could be in any second, it defines your entire life with that instant, the now. Right now, I want to ask you, what are you and who are you? Right this instant. Because all that matters is the now. You know why? Because that's the soul that the angel of death is going to grab and take. That's the soul that matters. Not what you want to do tomorrow. Not what you've done yesterday. Who you are right now. That's what matters. Who you are right now depends totally, first and foremost, on up here, what and who do you believe you are? Because believe it or not, when you know yourself to a point that you realize and you're aware of the ideas and the thoughts that drive that self of yours, because in each and every one of us, there are ideas and thoughts that baked that self, made that soul. What are they? You need to put the time and effort to think through every single thought, review it, and find your commitment to it. This is the book of thoughts. This is the book of ideas. This is the book that should shape what and who you are. So when the angel of death comes and takes you, the now is defined through this. It is easy to talk about it. But what is the biggest barrier that stops us from putting the time? Listen, we have 24 hours a day. Could it be the fact that we really don't have time? It's not that we don't have time. You know what it is? We do not see the severity of the issue to put in the time. The average duration of a movie is how long? 1 hour? 2 hours? 2 hours, right? How fast do the 2 hours pass by? Pretty fast if it was a good movie, right? But the 2 hours, how slow are the 2 hours passing by if you're reading something that requires you to think? A lot of 2 hours like becomes 2 days, right? Right or wrong? Why? Have you ever asked yourself, why is it that I enjoy the movie so much that 2 hours pass like this, and when it comes time to reading and understanding something, the 2 hours are like torture? Do you know why? It is because you got yourself used to it. It's a developed habit. Internally, you're not realizing how much you rejected and you put yourself so far away from the Holy Quran, from thinking, that the hour becomes an agony, torture. But when it comes to entertainment, you fall into it very quickly. It's a matter of self-training. How much you're willing to train. That is why one of the important things in the morning, the most important thing is the morning prayer. Let me tell you, you want to know how well you're doing in your life? Examine your morning prayer. Examine your state of mind and self from dawn to sunrise. How are you? What are you? What state are you in? How many of us sleep through that time zone? They just sleep through it. How many just push themselves off the bed, Allahu Akbar, they don't even know that they just say Bismillah, they finish the whole prayers and they go back to sleep. How many spend this duration from sometimes 1 to 2 hours in a wasteful manner? Just so you know, these 2 hours from dawn to sunrise, sometimes less, define your entire day, define how you are, what you are. You know why? Because it's the struggle of moving from the deepest comfort of your sleep to starting your uphill battle. These 2 hours define one thing in you. You know what it defines? Your willpower. And your willpower is definitely what Allah Azza wa Jal, through everything in your lifetime, through the struggles, through the tests, through the trials, Allah Azza wa Jal wants you to sharpen one thing, that willpower. So you can discipline yourself, so you can grow. With the willpower, you can create the commitment. With the willpower, you can have the discipline. With the willpower, you can commit to any thoughts you want. All it takes is what? Wanting to do it. Have you ever wanted something so bad you committed yourself to it? When was the last time you committed yourself to a principle? When you're committed to a principle, you don't care how much you're getting paid for. You don't care what's in return. Let me ask you, how many of you guys pray and supplicate? Do dua? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. The rest of you don't? Man. There's an issue here. Salawat. When you ask Allah, what are you asking Him? Let me tell you how we talk to Allah. God, if you do this, I promise I will do this. Right or wrong? God, if you do this to me, I promise you I will start doing this and this and this. It sounds like we're doing God a favor and we're doing a transaction. Conditional worship. If A, then B. If A, then B. So what are we doing here? We are promising obedience to Allah based on what? Favors from Him. Obedience, I'll obey you, given that what? You do this and this and that to me. The question is, which we will talk about it in great detail tomorrow. Is Allah obligated to do anything to us? Is He? It's amazing to realize the I, the self, how full of itself it becomes. We become an image of Iblis. Oh my God, how could you say that? The arrogance and the self-conceitedness in us, we become a mere image of Iblis. Iblis looks at us as, good boy, I'm proud of you. Do you ever want Iblis to look at you and say, I'm so proud of you, my work, look at it? Would you be proud of that? Seriously, would you be proud of that? But how many times you're saying, Iblis, look at me, I am your image. I followed you and you should be proud of me. When I say I, even with God, even with Allah Azza wa Jal, I stand before Allah and I say I. That's why we love Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. Even in his worship, he saw no I. Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam sees no I in this universe. Only sees Him, Allah Azza wa Jal. Have you ever felt life with no I? Because life with no I is the peak of worship and obedience. Life with no I is the peak of sincerity. Life with no I is the peak and the utmost level of love with Allah Azza wa Jal. Have you ever been in love? Taste the love of Allah Azza wa Jal. Taste being in love with Allah Azza wa Jal. Imam Hussein, dear brothers and sisters, tasted such love. And that is why when he was in the battlefield of Karbala on the 10th day of Muharram, when the swords were hitting him and striking him, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he was saying, فَيَا سُيُوفَ خُذِينِ, take me, O swords. Abis al-Shakiri was one of the companions of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. They say when he went to the battlefield of Karbala, people, the enemies of Allah were running away from him. He threw the sword down. He started attacking them with his bare hands. They told him, Ya Abis, did you go insane? He said, Wallah, حب الحسين أجنني لا تلوموني. The love of Hussein drove me insane. Do not blame me. Dear brothers and sisters, we go with Lady Zainab alayha salam, with the woman and the children, with the caravan, as they entered the land of Damascus, as they were taken prisoners of war in the palace of Yazid, la'natullahi alayh. They say the woman, the children were missing their loved ones in the night as they were put in the basement in the palace of Yazid. So they say a daughter for Imam Hussein alayhi salam kept on crying, calling, Abba ya Hussein, Father Hussein, Abba ya Hussein. and Father Hussein. Lady Zainab tried to calm down this daughter of Imam Hussein. She would not stop crying, kept on calling, I want my father Hussein, bring me my father Hussein, I want to see my father Hussein, I miss my father Hussein. They say Yazid woke up and upon hearing this cry, he called in the guards. He said, what is going on? They said, a daughter of Hussein, calling, crying, yelling, screaming. She wants to see her father Hussein. Yazid said, take her father to her, show her her father. They said, the guards, the soldiers, the enemies of Allah entered in that night to the court where Lady Ruqayya was sleeping. When she was awakened and was crying, they entered the court where they were. When Lady Ruqayya alayha salam, they say she saw the guards coming with something covered on a platter. It was put in front of her. Lady Zainab looking at her, Imam Zain al-Abidin looking at her. The guard, upon removing the cover from the platter, what was on it? Lady Ruqayya called, Aba ya Hussein. Upon removing the cover, she saw the head of her father Hussein. She called again, Aba ya Hussein. For the third time she said, Abi Hussein. And then she fell on the ground. Lady Zainab alayhi salam tried to move her. Bunayya, Bunayya, daughter, daughter. Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam said, Amma Zainab, Amma Zainab, Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Amma Anti Zainab, may Allah accept all the rewards for your patience for what happened. Ya laytana kunna ma'akum sadati فنفوز فوزا عظيما. غريب كربلاء، مظلوم كربلاء، شهيد كربلاء. إلهي بحق فاطمة وأبيها وبعلها وبنيها والسر المستودع فيها والتسعة المعصومين من ذرية الإمام الحسين. I ask you, Allah, بحق محمد وآل محمد, اغفر لنا, forgive us, وارحمنا, have mercy upon us, accept the little we are offering, Ya Allah, and accept our recitation of Surah Al-Fatiha as we offer it to the souls of all the deceased ones after the Salat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad.
Hussein, 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 Hussein.